Before I, Kevin Hawkins, tell my story, I should tell you a little about some strange interests and personality traits that I have that developed early in my life, probably at the very beginning of my adolescence. Even though I did all the usual masculine macho things like sports, games, fighting, wild behavior, etc., I always appreciated the arts. I liked all art from classical to modern, from paintings and sculptures to performance art, especially if the subjects are women. Away from male friends, I even read about different types of beauty, trying to define them not only in art, but also in life, and constantly drew beautiful women with a pencil. I would love to paint beautiful women on canvas, but I couldn't afford the high-end materials that would allow me to create real works of art. The various forms of female beauty that I identified, including examples of famous women, were as follows. Unstoppable. There is something aesthetically edgy about an unstoppable beauty. She often has dark vibes, rich lips, and perfectly contoured eyes and eyebrows. I think Beyoncé and Angelina Jolie are good examples. Innocence. There is something whole in an innocent beauty. She has an open face, large expressive, multicolored eyes, and natural hair color. She is shy and very feminine, and ingenuine in literature. Perhaps the most classic example is the young Audrey Hepburn, and in our time, perhaps Amy Adams, uncompromising. There is athletic strength in an uncompromising beauty. She is tall and muscular, with well-defined features, a huskier voice than usual, and a feisty, independent personality. Think Gina Carano, Ronda Rousey, or Venus Williams. Plasticity. There is an inexplicable appeal to a plastic beauty, almost like a ceramic doll rather than a real person. She probably has fake tan, false nails, plastic surgery, bleached blonde hair, and is very thin. Can you tell this is not Paris Hilton? Femininity. Feminine beauty has an appeal between the dark vibes of a fierce beauty and the lightness of an ingenue. She takes care of her appearance, but there is nothing artificial about her. Classic examples are everyone's favorite Jennifer Aniston and Sandra Bullock. I identified another category. I grew up in a municipality on the outskirts of a large metropolis. In my community, there was significant disparity in the economic status of different areas. Luckily, no one lived below the poverty line, at least not that I knew, but about a third of the population struggled to make ends meet. About 60% were middle class, and about 7% were very rich. I come from a middle-class family. We had a good life, but there was nothing pretentious or ostentatious about us. Most rich kids either went to private school or were brats. There was one big exception, my best friend. His name was Bradley Brayton Van Rensselaer, but he only responded to Van. Everyone called him that except his stepmother, who invariably called him Bradley. Van was an excellent athlete, smart, a good guy, and so humble that he seemed almost embarrassed by his father's wealth. If you hadn't been to his house or seen his father's Bentley, you would never have thought that Van came from big money. There was something else about Van. He was the best-looking guy around and always treated women with respect, and since I always hung out with him, we were both 6 feet 2 inches tall, weighing 194 pounds, and I myself was decent looking. We never lacked female companionship. Starting at the age of 18, when we were juniors in high school, we had more than enough attention. Van and I competed in lacrosse in the spring and fall, and in swimming in the winter. When Van was in 8th grade, his mother died in a tragic accident, and when Van was in his sophomore year, his father George married Van's stepmother Allegra. Van's only friend invited to the wedding was me, and that was the first time I saw Allegra. She was 29 at the time, and Van and I were 17, both starting school a year later than most kids for various unimportant reasons. When I was introduced to Allegra, we both had a strange reaction. Her eyes widened, she swallowed, was silent for a good 5 or 6 seconds, and then seemed to turn on and act the same as she did with everyone else. Despite the electric charge, my first impression of Allegra was that she was a rich bitch. Perhaps my opinion of her was tainted by Van's opinion, because he didn't like her. I think because she took his mother's place, and he was not happy with that, especially since his father married her only 2 years after his mother's death. However, after a while, Van warmed up to her when he realized that she was not trying to replace his mother, but was really interested in his success and well-being. By the middle of our junior years, he already liked her, him, and had no need for money. But I didn't attach much importance to his theories. Since I often visited Van's house and she was always a polite hostess and was